Hi guys, it's Miss Shannon. I found a few chapter books on Amazon Prime that I decided that I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read about a chapter a day. I'm going to try to, and then I'm going to try to post it on Google Classroom for you. The first one that I found that was interesting is called Big Nate in a Class, all by himself. So chapter 1. In what year was the 14th Amendment to the Constitution ratified? She could have called on anybody. There were 22 other kids in the classroom, and they all had their hands in the air. Francis did, Teddy did, Gina did, of course. Even Nick Blonsky, who usually sits in the back row with his pencil up his nose, had his hand raised. She could have called on one of them, right? Guess who she calls on? Nate! Yep. Mrs. Godfrey always does this. She always calls on me when I don't know the answer, and she can tell I don't know it. Ever hear somebody say that dogs can smell fear? That's Mrs. Godfrey. She's like a dog. A big, nasty, ugly dog. Grrr. I sort of scooch down in my seat. The whole class is staring at me. My ears start to burn, then my cheeks. I can feel tiny droplets of sweat beading up and down my forehead. Well, she barks. What was the question again? I've heard that on an average day, you use about 10% of your brain power. Well, sitting here with my mouth turning as dry as a sack of sand, I really need that other 90% to kick in. But my mind is blank. Mrs. Godfrey steps away from the chalkboard and starts toward me. She looks mad. No, worse than mad. She looks mean. Her face is flushed. I can see tiny flecks of spittle at the corners of her mouth. That's pretty gross. I brace myself, and then the bell rings, and keeps on ringing, except it doesn't really sound like a school bell. It sounds like ring. I was dreaming. I blink hard, then let out a huge sigh of relief. I've never been so happy to hear that alarm clock in my entire life. Not that I'm ready to get up or anything. Closing my eyes again, I flop back down on the pillow. Time to go to school. Hey, thanks a lot, Dad. Way to break it to me gently. Nice parenting. Actually, his parenting skills aren't that bad. He makes the nastiest tuna casserole you've ever tasted, but he's pretty harmless, especially compared to some of the psycho dads I've seen at Little League games. It's just that Dad's kind of clueless. He has no idea what it's like to be me. I mean, how long has it been since he was in middle school? 30 or 40 years? I think he's forgotten how it feels to be held prisoner all day long in a building that smells like a combination of chalk dust, ammonia, and mystery meat. He can't remember what it's like to be an average 6th grader. Not that I'm an average 6th grader. Okay, I'll admit I'm not exactly Joe Honor Roll, but answer me this. When I get out there in the real world, is anybody going to care whether or not I know who was vice president under Warren G. Harding? And don't try to pretend that you know who it was, because you don't. The point is, I want to use my talents for more than just memorizing useless facts. I'm meant for bigger things. I am destined for greatness. I'm still not 100% sure what kind of greatness I'm destined for, but I'll figure it out. I've got options. I keep a list on my closet door about this very subject. Could achieve greatness in soccer, music, cartooning, and table football. There's also stuff I definitely won't achieve greatness in, like opera, synchronized swimming, and cat grooming. Enough said. Let's get back to the unfortunate fact that today is a school day. But what kind? You know, not all school days are created equal. You can rank them by category. Just so you know, I'm really into ranking stuff. One time I spent a solid week ranking every kind of snack food I could think of. At the top, cheese doodles. At the bottom, rice cakes. If I were to grade the different kinds of school days report card style, here's how they'd stack up. A+, field trip days. I'm not talking about lame field trips when a teacher makes you walk around the neighborhood on Earth Day picking up trash. I'm talking about an all-day, get on a bus and go somewhere field trip. Even if they give you a worksheet in the hope that you might actually learn something. You can usually come up with an excuse not to do it. That's what I did last year when I went to the aquarium. B, secret events days. This is when the classroom time gets eaten up by something better, like a movie or an assembly, or better yet, some sort of emergency. Last spring, Mrs. Serwitzky's wig caught on fire and set off the smoke alarm in the faculty lounge. We got to evacuate the building and ended up playing ultimate frisbee on the lawn for an hour. That was awesome. For everybody except Mrs. Serwitzky. C- substitute teacher days. I think we can all agree that subs are almost always better than real teachers. By better, I mean more clueless. The absolute best subs are fresh out of college ones who have never taught a day in their life. Frankly, they're not very bright. Or maybe they're just really gullible. You know, the word gullible isn't in the dictionary. It's not. But Mr. Gavin always lets us chew gum in class. Okay, carry on. D, normal days. Unfortunately, most days are like this. You spend 6.5 action-packed hours studying subjects like photosynthesis and the War of 1812. Thrilling. You get home after school and your parents are like, "What did you learn in school today?" And you think about it for a solid 10 seconds. Then you say, "I didn't have the foggiest idea." F, train wrecks. There are so many ways for a school day to go wrong. That's almost impossible to list them all. You could get screamed at by a teacher, usually Mrs. Godfrey, for absolutely no reason, which seems to happen to me a lot. You could get roughed up by Chester, the school bully who looks like he spikes chocolate milk with human growth hormone. Or your teacher could nail you with a quiz or a test you never saw coming. Oops. Test? Now there's a horrifying thought. Do we have a test today? I don't remember any teacher mentioning a test yesterday. But like I already told you, I don't remember much of anything. I usually start to lose interest right around the time I hear, "Settle down, class." Settle down, class, in teacher speak means let the mind-numbing boredom begin. It's times like these I wish I paid better attention in class like Mrs. Francis. Francis, he'll know whether or not we have a test today. Here's the thing about Francis. He knows just about everything. He's always got his book buried in his nose buried in the book of facts, and he takes school pretty seriously. The truth is, he's kind of a geek, but I'm allowed to call him that because we're tight. We've known each other since the first day of kindergarten when he started snoring during nap time. So I hit him in the head with my Thomas the Tank Engine lunchbox, and we've been best friends ever since. Let me see if he's up yet. Yep, he's up. And reading, of course. His social studies textbook. So we must have a test today. Oh no! This is bad. This is very bad. First, because my social studies textbook is in my locker at school. And second, because if I'm suddenly remembering what Mrs. Godfrey said to me after our last test, if you do this poorly on the next test, Nate, you could very well end up in summer school. Yeah, we've got social studies first period. That only gives me about 45 minutes to study my class notes. And here they are. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, it looks like my class notes aren't going to be much help. Not unless Mrs. Godfrey gives us extra credit for doodling. I'm dead. And that is the end of chapter 1. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you